I've been using my Canon M50 Mark II for over a year now, shooting videos, photos and a bunch of other projects. I've even made a full review and a rig build video for it. Since then, I've upgraded about every single part of it and have finally reached the point where I think it's ready. This is the most logical Canon M50 video rig, in my opinion. Also, please keep in mind that because this video is about the camera I usually film with, I filmed most of this video on my phone. Well, this is my trusty camera, the Canon M50 Mark II. It's nice and compact and has a lot of features. It normally comes with the Canon 15-45 f3.5 to 6.3 lens, but I have since upgraded to a better one, the Sigma 30mm f1.4. I love this lens for its sharpness, low light performance and size. I keep a cheap SanDisk 64GB SD card in the camera and still use the stock Canon battery. Though I do have these third-party batteries, which also work great. For building out the rig, I use this camera frame from Neewer, which I specifically like because it makes the camera's grip a bit bigger and because it hooks into the M50's metal strap mounts. This prevents the camera from twisting loose inside the cage, making the rig more solid compared to other cages on the market. This cage has an Arca Swiss tripod plate built into the bottom, but I prefer this Arca Swiss plate that came with my gimbal, the Zhiyun Weebill S. This tripod plate still allows me to attach the camera to standard Arca Swiss tripods, but also clips into the gimbal's quick release mechanism for easy mounting. I will most likely be doing a full in-depth review of this gimbal in the future, so get subscribed if you don't want to miss it. On top of the cage is a NATO reel from Neewer, which I use to attach my small rig top handle. This top handle is nothing special, but it's comfortable and can be quickly attached and taken off. Opening the port cover on the camera's grip uncovers the micro HDMI and micro USB ports. This right-angle micro HDMI cable then plugs right into the HDMI port on the camera. Micro HDMI ports are known for breaking, but fortunately this newer cage includes a clamp for the HDMI connector. Screwing it to the cage is easily done with the included Allen wrench, securely keeping it in place. The Allen wrench also magnetically stows underneath the cage, which is very nice. Although this cable sticks out of the grip, I haven't had any problems with it and can still comfortably hold the camera for hours at a time. I keep the cable attached to the frame with a twist tie and keep it stored using this rubber band. Now for the unique part of my rig. I wanted more weight on the back for balance and stability, but V-mount batteries are expensive, so I made my own solution. This is my DIY Cinebag. It's a 3D printed accessory to add some weight, improve handling and look cool while doing it. It features slots for 2 extra batteries, a lens cap and my little Sony pocket camera. I designed it with a friend and we printed it in PETG on his Ender 3. It attaches to the camera using its built-in Arca Swiss plate and its clamp. And it's surprisingly sturdy. The Cinebag adds just enough weight to balance out the rig and reduce microshakes that can ruin handheld shots. The extended bag also gives you another point of contact by pressing it into your hip or shoulder to improve stability even more. The print is not perfect, I still have to take it off to change batteries and it's not the sleekest thing, but I'm really happy with it. Fun fact, we've even printed it in special glow-in-the-dark filament, so this thing glows when you turn the lights off. I'm not sure if that's practical for a camera, but I think it's awesome. By the way, Cinebag is also a product sold by Camera Foundry, which is where I got the idea of making something like this for my M50. Now that the camera's tripod plate is being used by the Cinebag clamp, I needed a new way to attach the camera to a tripod. I came up with just screwing a tiny Arca Swiss plate to the bottom of the clamp, and this works fine. Next up is the microphone. In the last rig build video I showed the Rode VideoMic Go 2, which I borrowed from a friend for a shoot I had that day. I was very pleased with the audio quality, so I picked one up for myself. I like the one with the helix shock mount, just because it looks better in my opinion. I also got the Dead Cat windbreaker for it, as I mainly shoot outside and don't want the wind to ruin my audio. Attaching it to the rig is as easy as screwing it onto a cold shoe mount. I prefer the cage's left mount, as it's close to the camera's microphone input port and doesn't obstruct my view of the buttons on the grip. Do keep in mind that the audio cable sticking out of the camera interferes with the monitor, seriously limiting its movement. This is not a problem for me anymore however, as I've finally upgraded to a proper monitor. This is the Viltrox DC550, a very affordable touchscreen monitor that I've been enjoying for the past few months. It features a foldable and detachable sun hood and comes with a USB-C rechargeable NPF battery. You might have already noticed that I've got a cold shoe mount attached to the front of my top handle. This mount allows for quickly attaching the monitor to the rig. I can then plug the HDMI cable in and fold out the sun hood. The monitor has a built-in fan for keeping the panel cool and it exhausts out of the bottom right of the monitor. This is another reason why I don't mount a mic right there, as the fan would blow right into the mic, instantly ruining my audio. For the last part of my rig, I've got this small rig light panel. I usually mount it to the top handle's cold shoe, but rarely use this light on the rig itself. Most of the time, I've got it mounted on another tripod or magic arm to have more control of where the light comes from. And this is the whole rig. I've purposely kept it simple and compact, while also having everything I need ready to go. The rig can be fully stripped down for transport in under a minute and can be easily customized for any job. Fully built out, it weighs 4.6 pounds, which is pretty light for a camera rig. I'm also working on a bigger rig to account for bigger lenses. I was able to borrow the legendary Sigma 18-35 f1.8 art lens for a few days, for which I assembled a rig with my SmallRig V99 SE V-mount battery that powers the monitor using a USB-C cable. The rig is built on a long Arca Swiss plate, which also helps with balancing the rig on a tripod. The battery can also be slid back to access the ports and balance out an even heavier lens. Though I'm not planning on getting a bigger lens soon, it's nice to already have a great rig for once I do. And the V-mount battery is very useful for other stuff too. It's basically a big power bank with power delivery USB-C. With this lens and battery, it weighs about 6.8 pounds, which is noticeably heavier but still manageable. And this art lens looks incredibly crisp. Now that you guys have seen what gear I use, let's go into a little more detail about why I chose these specific products. You already know why I chose the M50. I was contemplating the M50 and the Sony ZV-E10 when I suddenly saw a good as new M50 listed for cheap on Facebook. I'm very happy with this camera and think it's a great starter camera for photo and video work. The Sigma 30mm f1.4 lens was a last minute decision, as I was planning on buying the Viltrox 23mm f1.4. Just before pulling the trigger on the Viltrox lens, I stumbled across a nice deal for the Sigma 30mm and found out that the Sigma Prime is way sharper and that the focal length of 30mm fits my work more than 23. Though the Sigma lens was quite a bit more expensive and the sale had already ended, I chose to order it anyway. This fortunately ended up being a very good decision and I rarely find myself in a position where 30mm doesn't cut it for me. Most of the time I can just move the camera closer or further away, and can always switch to the 15-45 if I really need to go wider. The microphone is another great piece of gear. I was able to borrow a friend's Rode VideoMic Go 2 for a shoot I had about a year ago, and I was so happy with the mic I ordered my own not very long after. The mic sounds great straight out of the camera, but it also has a USB-C port with which you can connect it to a computer or phone. For handheld work, I just plug the mic into the camera, but for stationary interviews, I take the extra time to connect it to my phone and use the Rode Recorder app to record the audio. I can then use the mic's 3.5mm port for plugging in headphones. I even use this mic for my voiceovers, just like the one I'm doing right now, so you can be the judge of how it sounds. The Cinebag is an awesome addition to the setup in my opinion. I've designed it specifically for my needs and I'm really proud of the end product. There are a few points of improvement though, like the attachment mechanism. Using this clamp is pretty strong, but I do have to take it all off in order to change the battery. As I've said before, it's printed in glow-in-the-dark PETG. The white matches the white camera pretty good and I really like that it glows in the dark. It makes the rig unique and that's exactly what I want. All in all, I'm really impressed with the Cinebag and I'll leave the print files available for free in the video description. The monitor is another great piece of gear that I procrastinated getting for way too long. The stock Canon display is pretty good, but nothing beats a larger dedicated display. Not only does it help for pulling focus, it also adds a bunch more features and lets me position the monitor anywhere I want. I specifically chose the Viltrox TC550 for a few reasons. Most importantly, it's cheap, at least compared to other camera monitors. It also comes with a lot of accessories. You've got the monitor itself, the collapsible sun hood, a cold shoe monitor mount, a rechargeable NPF battery and some HDMI and USB cables. This all fits in the included clamshell case, which I never use as I just slide the monitor into my backpack, but still nice that they included it. The monitor can be powered using a USB-C or 12-volt barrel jack cable or the included NPF battery. I found that the included battery lasts around 1 to 1.5 hours with the monitor on full brightness, which is long enough for me, so I just use the battery. The battery fully charges in a few hours and it has a built-in charge level indicator, which is nice. I found that the monitor has good image quality and have had no issues with it so far. The included monitor mount has started wiggling a few days ago though, so I upgraded to a small rig monitor mount. I have set the custom function buttons to focus peaking, punch in and false color. The monitor's menu is easy to navigate using touchscreen or the wheel on the side. The monitor also has a headphone jack, which is amazing for me as my camera doesn't have one built in, but it does send audio over HDMI to the monitor. I can now monitor the camera's audio live using the monitor, though it has some latency. Volume can be adjusted by sliding up and down on the left side on the screen, and the right side controls the backlight brightness. This is a really smart way to quickly adjust these settings. The built-in fan can be adjusted in the menu. I normally have it at low speed when I'm inside and medium to high speed when I'm filming outside, as the panel can get very hot. It's barely audible on medium speed, but noticeable on high speed. You can also fully turn it off if you want. And that's my full M50 video setup. It's compact, versatile and easy to break down and rebuild. If you want to try any of this yourself, I've linked the Cineback files and all mentioned gear in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.